welcome to a very special edition of the DC TV Report. This is going to be our Aquaman DC movie report. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
I'm Sarah Netzley, and I'm trying to process that slightly lower energy welcome. I was prepared for your usual, high octane welcome, and then you gave us the, theater after dark welcome.
Well, I figure...
you figure Arthur Curry is a chill dude, and so our intro needs to be chill.
Yeah. Well, I figure I'm probably gonna do a different music setup for this. Probably steal some soundtrack from the movie. I don't know. I'm probably not going to open with the DC movie. With our usual opening. So I don't know. This movie came out this weekend. I actually saw it. And you're listening to this. This is the weekend of December 29th. So hope everyone had a fun Christmas.
And I hope your New Year's plans are shaping up to be spectacular, however you define that.
Yes. Yes. But we're here to talk about a movie that debuted the weekend of the 21st. And I actually saw this the previous weekend because I got special disc. If you're a DC Universe member or an Amazon Prime member, you were able to get to a preview screening the week before. So I've had a lot of time to think about this movie.
Whereas I saw it yesterday, so it hasn't even been 24 hours. My husband's office had their Christmas party. We drank some mimosas. We cut out early. Everybody at the office cut out early. It wasn't just us. And we caught an early screening on Friday. So
yes,
it was good.
Yes.
And I will say there were a lot of people there for an early-ish Friday screening. So I was pleased by that.
Cool.
You know, you always worry with movies that you want to do well if you go in and the theater is empty, but there were appropriate numbers of people, I thought, given the time of day and the place geographically where we were.
Yeah, and it's been doing great numbers. There's a lot of anticipation. They think it's going to have a big opening weekend. Of course, it's Saturday, so we don't know. But I'm pretty confident. That movie can hit somewhere in the above $70-80 million. I don't know. And the real question is, how is it going to hold up against Mary Poppins Returns? But just to go, this movie was directed by James Wan. It stars Jason Momoa and Amber Heard. Tells the story of Arthur Curry, who's half man, half Atlantean, who's lived on the surface world for all of his life, with his father, who's a lighthouse keeper. And he's drawn into the world of Atlantis when his half brother Orm tries to unite all of the people who live under the sea to combat the surface world. And heroics ensue.
Quipping ensues, hair tossing ensues.
Yes. So let's try to approach this spoiler free for a little bit. Talk about that for a few minutes, and then at a certain point we're gonna go deep into the spoilers, and you could hang on and wait to listen to the rest of the episode until after you've seen the movie, or just go watch the movie and then come back to us. So Sarah, spoiler free, what did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I wanted to love it, and it was so close to being something I could love. But a friend of mine asked a couple of weeks ago, hey, what do you think Aquaman, is it going to be good? And my response to him was, my prediction, it's going to be one of the better DC movies. It's not going to be quite as good as Wonder Woman for me, but it's going to be better than pretty much all the rest. It's not going to be as good as the best Marvel movies, but it's going to be better than your Thor 2, The Dark World. And that is exactly where it landed for me. Not quite as fun as Wonder Woman for me, far better than the rest of them. And just it was missing the spark and the humor in the writing that I look for in the very best superhero movies, but the action was good. I thought the lead characters were great. The special effects were a lot of fun. I liked it. I wish I'd loved it, but I really liked it. How about you?
I love this movie. Especially, I've kind of had the joke wandering around as a big DC fan over the years, kind of feeling like a battered housewife. But to me,
dark.
To me, this movie really delivered. I thought there was lots of excitement. I thought there was a lot of humor in here too. And I think it was there were parts of it that were very cheesy, but I think it owned it. And, this movie knew what it was. It wasn't afraid to go to some really crazy, insane places. And, it kind of flaunted like, this is Aquaman's world. It is insane. And that I thought that there's so much of this. You could see so many nods to action adventure movies from the 1980s. Like you saw so many different influences here. Like I really feel like this screenplay was written in like 1982 or 83. Like it's something that like Lawrence Kasdan or like Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale were just kind of like on a weekend going like, hey, let's write something completely crazy. So if anyone ever gives us stupid money, we can
let's snort some coke and let's bang this out over the weekend.
Yeah. And I think it's something that I feel like it's a script that was probably in development limbo for like 35 years just because, it cost $300 million. And then at one point in like the late 90s, early aughts, Triple H was attached to play Aquaman. And that's why so much of his dialogue has like a pro wrestler vibe to it. And you have all the
what I like is that
all the heavy metal riffs in there.
Oh my god, you stole my joke. Oh. I was gonna say what I like is that the script direction of and then heavy metal guitars drop in did not get removed, and we still got them.
Yeah.
How did you know? Well, I will say the comic book fan in my life who saw the movie with me, just at one point, he just giggled. And I looked over at him and he said, I'm watching Aquaman ride a seahorse on the big screen. He just couldn't believe it actually finally happened. He really enjoyed it. And I think it was because it just took so long and it was the kind of thing you didn't ever think was going to actually come to fruition. And then there he is. There he is, talking to fish. It's happening.
So yeah. I think, okay, all right, that's enough. That you got the general idea. That's what we thought. Let's dig into spoilers here. So yeah, off the bat, you have I think that insane. Where do we begin with this? Let's start. Let's start.
Dude, I don't even know.
Yeah. All right. Let's start at the beginning. What did you think of Nicole Kidman as Lana and her little romance with Arthur's father?
The reverse aging technology that they're using in movies now is impressive. That's my first thought was just, dang, Nicole Kidman looks good. Like they did it with Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if this is a thing we're going to see more and more of, but that was really a seamless, slight softening of age there on her. So for just technologically, that's what I noticed first. It was a nice romance. I enjoyed it. I liked that she was fierce and, she's happy and domestic and she's got the baby and the husband. And then when her former life comes crashing back in, she doesn't hesitate to tear things up. So I thought Nicole Kidman's character was great. I liked the dad. I liked that he was just like, they didn't cast a supermodel. They cast a nice guy. And I thought that was kind of cool too.
Yeah. It just the way that they developed that story. Like you almost like, I felt like it almost felt like this was going to be another movie at one point where it was just going to be like Atlanta trying to run from the Atlanteans. like you could have done a whole movie on that.
Oh, I would have watched that movie. I will say, Nicole Kidman talking about how in her world your tears float away from you is maybe the worst line since Padme talked about not liking sand. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about, where I thought the dialogue was a little stilted or obvious at times, and yet the actors they cast are so charismatic and so fun to watch. I forgave so much
Oh, definitely.
that I think in lesser hands would have made this one of the other DC movies. She was great in that role. I totally bought her as this fierce warrior. I loved that we're from two different worlds. Little Arthur was cute.
Yes.
I was worried about the strength of the glass in that aquarium when the shark rammed into it.
Oh.
Like, is that shark gonna kill all those children? Oh dear.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd just seen the Meg, and so that was on my mind. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Now, then Arthur's first appearance, we get to see Black Manta, as a pirate raid a submarine with his father. And this is very similar to what went down in the comics. Although one of the things that connect Arthur and Black Manta in the comics, this may be a little spoiler. It doesn't happen here, but they kill each other's fathers. And you see Arthur pretty much leave Black Manta's father to die. And like,
that's such peak DC hero that you don't proactively kill somebody, but your actions cause it, and so you have to carry that guilt. That is, and honestly, we saw it last week's Titans finale. We heard Dick talking about that. It feels like such a. I didn't actually kill the guy. Something I did made it happen. Yeah. But the guy kind of killed himself. But yeah, I was like, yep, that checks a box.
Yeah. What did you think of Black Manta? I was really surprised that like he got that suit on and it didn't look goofy.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool the way they folded him into the major storyline to have him work with Blonde Prince Evil. I liked how this movie had so much plot.
Yes.
So much plot. And so to be able to draw that in and to have Black Manta be executing the dirty work of Atlantis so Atlantis's hands could stay clean. Yeah, I love the way they integrated that. I enjoyed the tech scenes of him trying to put things together. So Black Manta, is he a scientist in the comic book? I mean, is he a techie guy?
He's a tinkerer. He's a pirate. But he's constantly looking underwater for Atlantean technology, and trying to adapt it. Mm-hmm.
Is he a person of color in the comic?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because in some ways I was like, okay, you don't have many people of color in this movie, and definitely the one family is the bad guys. I was just curious if that reflects the comics. Just curious.
Yeah, he always has been black in the comics, actually.
Cool. But no, I enjoyed him. I loved, I mean, this is really jumping ahead, but I loved the end where, it hints at where a sequel could go, what he might be up to in the sequel. So he was fun. He was interesting. I liked the role that he ended up playing.
Yeah. And I think that this is the perfect way. If you're going to have two bad guys in your movie, this was the perfect way to balance them. Whereas don't try to shoehorn them in and have, Aquaman fighting Black Manta and Orm at the same time at the end. You have them go separately, and even though they're working together, Black Manta is pretty much, his part of the story ends in the second act. He's the second act villain. And then kind of they set him up in the mid-credit sequence of the sequel.
I will say, every time he said, you don't have to pay me, I just want to kill the Aquaman, I was like, dude, you should take their money, though. You should let them pay you. He's got a lot of that gold. He's got those gold bullions. So you need to take that money.
Yeah.
Which might tell you what kind of supervillain I'd be, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move past the introduction scene, I love that the beginning introduction to Jason Momoa's Aquaman, we obviously met him in Justice League, but in that opening scene, it was a lot of him crashing in someplace, pausing, tossing his hair over his shoulder, looking at the camera, as if saying, remember me? I'm cool. I'm so cool. You remember how much you liked how cool I was? He did that like 4 times in that intro scene. Stop, toss, camera, cool. Don't get me wrong, it worked for me. But they really wanted us to remember, you think this guy is cool, remember? He's cool.
Yeah, they laid it on thick. Yeah. And I, it's also the kind of thing where, like, yes, he's this guy who's, swimming around the world, saving people and doing all these heroic things, but at the same time, he's also a beach bum. And
they established that with "You're interrupting happy hour."
Yeah.
Which was a great little line of dialogue, I thought.
Yeah. And I thought the way they, showed the relationship with him and his dad, I thought that was really cool. And the way they kind of established, sort of his world. I'm still trying to figure out, like, what his occupation is, or is because, like, they can't, like, run the lighthouse anymore. That's not a thing anymore, is it?
Is it not?
Well, I think a lot of those are remote controlled now. I mean, you probably have someone there to maintain it, but I don't think there are many lighthouse families still in existence on the East Coast.
As somebody who grew up with Pete's Dragon, that makes me sad.
But yeah. So, I don't know, but moving on, eventually Amber Heard, Mira, shows up and tells Arthur that, like, hey, listen, your brother's going nuts. You need to go in there and set him straight. And that leads us to Orm, played by Patrick Wilson. What did you think of Orm, the Ocean Master?
I would watch Patrick Wilson read a phone book. I think he is such an interesting actor. I like him when he does villains. He was the best. Stay with me. He was the best part of the A-Team as far as I was concerned. He was such a fun, unhinged villain. He's such he makes interesting choices. I found him a little muted or a little opaque in this. If they had gone a little further with the atmosphere, environment, catastrophe argument, I think he would have been in a stronger position. If you could see what drove him to this, that he mentions you pollute our oceans and this and that, but I think bulking that up or making that a little more pressing and seeing how he came to think the land is a threat and we have to do something, it could have been stronger and it could have made his motivation a little better. But he was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching him. I liked the super contrast between him and Arthur visually. It was good. I good stuff. Yeah. Well cast. Good choice.
Yes. Yeah. And also showing up there, you had Willem Dafoe as Volko.
Okay, no. We have to call this what it is. Green Goblin advising Night Owl was great.
Yes. Yeah, Green Goblin advising Night Owl. Trying to help him get over the death of Dr. Chase Meridian. And buddy up with Konstantin Kovar. Who, by the way, Dolph Lundgren has been having an amazing year. Because he gives, for what it's worth, as much as it can be, what I thought was a really subtle, understated, heartbreaking performance in Creed 2. And here, as King Nereus of Zebul, I thought that he was, the political intrigue of that character. I thought that he filled out that part really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even sports the red hair, the way that the beard and the hairs float in the water, even though like they're not in water. I thought that
was freaking hypnotic.
Yeah, I thought that was. I cannot believe that Aquaman is not on the short list for best visual effects for the Oscars. It's not going to get a nomination. And I think all of the stuff, the entire world that they created, but just the way they handles those swimming effects was insane.
Agreed. You almost couldn't have done this movie any sooner than this because it would have been so bad effects wise. But I nothing felt off to my eye. It all felt like they were underwater. It was really well done.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. Yeah. What did you think of Green Goblin's I'm sorry, Volko's training scenes, the flashbacks of him training Arthur?
It took me a while to trust him. I think it's because of the Green Goblin. I honestly, it was like, do not trust Willem Dafoe. He is going to betray you, Arthur. He's going to betray you.
Also, and so it's Willem Dafoe. Like, that's kind of his thing.
He has the least trustworthy face in all of cinema, I think. So it took until we had the 16-year-old Arthur where I was like, how old is this kid really? Is he over 16? For me to say, okay, he actually genuinely is trying to help him. Cool. I liked him. I always like the process of becoming for any superhero is so fun to watch. And so I'm glad we got a little bit of that. And I really, really loved the scene where he's teaching Arthur how to swim as Arthur and Mira are diving in. I liked the juxtaposition there. I thought that was really well done. It was one of the nicer sequences, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of that, we finally get to see Atlantis. And
I'm sorry. Do you mean underwater Tron?
I was gonna say, yeah. Those Blade Runner and Tron are the total visual influences that you see running through Atlantis. Like it feels like
it does not do anything to dispel your "this was written in the '80s" vibe.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like totally like that's definitely the visual language that they're going here. I just the imagination there I thought was incredible. And I thought, and especially like later on when you see the scenes of Atlantis, before it gets taken underwater, I thought like you really see the evolution of the city. And I thought that was a really cool way to kind of show the history and show like how technologically advanced Atlantis is. And just the way they kind of tracked that visual image. It's almost like, this is what humans could get to in 100 years. But I don't know, just it was just so gorgeous. So cool.
It was. For as much explaining and world building as they had to do, I wanted more. When Mira says, you're judging Atlantis based on what you've seen, yes, but that's all we've been able to see. I would love to have seen a little bit more nuance, because all we saw were these glittering, arenas and royal rooms. It would have been fun to get to explore more of Atlantis, but this already was a movie that felt like it was 12 hours long. And I don't say that as a complaint. It's just, it was a long movie and it had a lot of plots that it was juggling. And so I don't think you could have added anything else in there. And yet I would love to have seen more of the nuance of Atlantean society that Mira talked about. Hey, real fast, can we talk about Mira for a second?
Go ahead.
Oh my God, she was awesome. I didn't know much about Mira other than that my friend Elise cosplays as her a lot. So that was really my Mira knowledge was, Elise looks good.
Yeah.
But she was fantastic. Can I make a proposal for a team up movie where Mira and Wonder Woman get together and just don't take anybody's nonsense. I would watch that.
I thought it was great. I thought the characterization was great. And like the one thing I think she could have been even meaner. Like the one thing with that character, the way she's drawn the way she's written on the page is like she is so into respect. Like that's kind of her deal, and you're right, she doesn't take shit from anybody. And that's kind of where like she's just like a really, really strong woman. And I think she was kind of like carrying Arthur for the whole for a lot of it. I thought and also the way they established that like each Atlantean, especially like the High, kind of has like different power sets, and like one of her things is that she has the ability to control water, kind of like the way Arthur can communicate with fish, can communicate with sea creatures. She kind of controls water as a substance, and the way she kind of like pulled the water out of his head in order to activate all of that, like that's like straight out. And the fact that they were able to do that and willing to do that, because so much of this seems like studios would just be so afraid, and the fact that it really goes all out and didn't pull any punches. And I think Mira is definitely an example of that.
I didn't know much about the character, and I hadn't really seen Amber Heard in much of anything either. And I thought she was fantastic, both actress and character. Really enjoyed her.
Yeah. Now, I'm trying to see. So, we had the arena fight. Then you also had.
Wait. We need to talk about the drumming octopus. Ed, what was that? That was terrible. That to me was actually like genuinely take me out of the world. Is
little too Little Mermaid for you?
If Arthur, yeah, a little too Little Mermaid, a little too like worst of the impulses of the most recent Star Wars movies, like. If Arthur is the only one in eons who can control, command, and talk to sea life, how is the octopus doing that? Is he a member of one of the splinter races who's choosing to drum? Why is there an octopus drummer? Oh my god.
Because James Wan said, okay, when he goes through, I want an octopus playing the drums. Because I think that would look really cool. And he's right, it does look really cool.
So this is the point at which I realized, hear me out, is this like a different take on the Black Panther storyline? You've got a secret world that is unbelievably high tech, that is sort of arguing about, do we let the wider world know about us, or do we engage with the wider world? You've got an upstart prince and the heir apparent, and they fight. Hello?
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah, like if you read Dan Abnett had a recent run on the Aquaman comics, that it was really kind of, there was definitely a Game of Thrones, like to me Aquaman comics work best when they're like a political thriller, where there's always kind of this intrigue that's going on. There's a famous Aquaman Justice League storyline that they did an animated movie of called Throne of Atlantis, which is exactly this, where Orm tries to stage a coup and just basically starts a war with the surface and starts attacking like Boston and in all of these cities, and Arthur has to kind of, and the Justice League kind of have to wrangle to take control. But that's the thing in the sequels that you could explore too, is like once the surface world becomes aware of the Atlanteans, where it's sort of the same thing where like, the US government doesn't know, like, should we do preemptively attack Atlantis because we don't know if we can trust them. And Arthur and Mira kind of have to be that bridge, keeping both sides, trying to tell both sides that, that they could trust each other. And so, yeah, that's definitely a direction. That's definitely something they can go in. And yeah, I do see those parallels with Black Panther.
Well, and I really loved that quiet moment, and I think it's just before they go in to fight, where Arthur says, I've thought about you. I wanted to meet my brother. I wanted to let you know you weren't alone. That was really nice. That I wish we'd had slightly more. I wish Patrick Wilson hadn't had to shout pronouncements quite as much and had a little bit more of those moments. But that was good. And then we got just thrown into the Hunger Games arena, which was also cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, because you get the Hunger Games arena, and then the escape from all of that, from that, which involved like an underwater volcano. I thought that was insane.
Basically, this was there were seahorses and a man on fire, and I fought a guy with a trident. It was the
and then they went to Italy.
As you do. Poor Sicily. It didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
Be good to those tiles on the roofs there. That's
yeah, and that's where Black Manta showed up again. And I thought that,
and the scavenger hunt was fun. That we go to the desert, then we go here, we go there. That was enjoyable.
Yeah, that's when it switched from like Tron to and Blade Runner to Indiana Jones. That was the Indiana Jones sequence. That's exactly what I'm calling it.
Yet another 80s reference.
Yes. Yeah. And then we go underwater again, and the trench. These are one of one of Aquaman's scariest villains, who's just a society who, they became barbaric animals, and they look pretty much exactly how they look in the comics.
They were scary.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Yeah, they were really, really scary. I thought that, and then him going underwater, and down below, like they're and meeting his mom again. When she showed up, in that, kind of like decked out, very similar to like Michelle Pfeiffer in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes.
What did you think of that reunion? Did you think it was too much? Did you think it was earned?
Okay, so we all knew she was alive, because you don't cast Nicole Kidman only for flashbacks. That's silly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if mothers recognize their fully grown sons like that. Is that how that works? I mean, let's assume it was Atlantean pheromones. Well, sure.
That's what the movies have always taught us, hasn't it? A mother knows. A mother knows.
A mother knows her child. My biggest question was, how is she in exile for 20 years but has maintained perfect fake eyelashes, mascara, eyeliner, the whole nine? They needed to do a little better with like natural makeup looks. That's all.
Yeah, she's a queen.
That threw me out. She's a queen. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's her GD royalty coming through. But no, I really like that. I like that she survived. Like, I don't understand how she survived the trench. I do not understand any of that. I don't care. She's fierce. She's a warrior. She's been alone. She actually seemed pretty sane for somebody who's been down there by herself for so long.
Yes.
But I was pleased. I was pleased. Also, what's with the sexism? Only the true king can get the trident. You've got a true queen. Jeez, patriarchy.
Sorry. It's I mean, I don't know what to say there, Sarah. I'm sorry. Any response I give would make me look like a jerk, so I'm just gonna
chauvinist. Yeah. But no, I tease. I enjoyed this very much. That was a nice reunion. Of course I'm gonna be all about that. How about you?
Yes. I second that motion. I thought it was very heartfelt. I thought it was, really cool, kind of, for them to relive those moments. And I think part of it a lot of this movie like feels very generic, like you could paint by the numbers, but I think the execution on it was so good and the visuals were so strong that you didn't care about that. It's not about changing the game. At this point, especially for these movies, just to get it, let's just get it done right.
Yeah.
I found it very enjoyable. Um, and when he goes after that trident, fun fact, do you know who voiced the monster that he has to fight in order to get the trident?
I was curious, and then I forgot to look it up afterward. Who?
Julie Andrews.
What?
Yes.
In the universe of actors.
Yes.
I could not have been less prepared for any name than Julie. Julie Andrews is like, wait, they're doing a new Mary Poppins. Julie got to get back in the game. Get on the phone.
Yes, Julie Andrews is spoiler. She's not in Mary Poppins Returns, which I also saw this week. Even though Angela Lansbury is there playing a part that was clearly written for Julie Andrews. But she does lend her voice talents to Aquaman.
Oh, that's so confusing. And Angela Lansbury makes more sense with the undersea stuff because of Bedknobs and Broomsticks and that extended underwater sequence. So those two British dames clearly needed to swap roles.
But that's fine. I think she did a fine job here.
Oh yeah. I actually really enjoyed all that. I had no idea. That just blew my mind. That is, I will say, I felt like I was slow on the uptake because when he finally approaches the throne and I realized that the creepy dead king is in the Aquaman outfit, I hadn't put that together before and I was like, oh, there's his outfit. There's his costume.
Yeah.
And then I actively resented it because it meant he would be keeping a shirt on henceforth. Boo.
But hey, he was able to, win the loyalty of King Atlan, aka the State of Killers, Graham McTavish.
Was that Graham McTavish?
Yes, it was.
Awesome.
Yeah, they just pulled everyone from all quarters of the comic book movie and TV universe. Yeah, and then the final showdown against Orm.
I liked the trident fighting styles. I enjoyed the way they sort of used them to like kick debris up at each other. It felt like it was somebody put thought into how would two super water powered dudes fight each other with tridents. It felt like they had fighting styles specific to the weapons, and I liked that.
Yeah. And what did you think of Orm's helmet?
I personally would not style myself like a blowfish or whatever that was. That would not be my aesthetic choice. Yeah. But God bless.
That's straight up his comics uniform. That's like, I cannot believe how, like, also the fact that they put him in the orange and green. I was not expecting that. They did not have to do that.
Yeah,
but it's really cool that they did.
And it didn't look that goofy.
No, not at all. No.
It helps that it was Jason Momoa underneath it, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. I could agree with that. But that and I think you're right. And also, like, when kind of the culmination of his powers, when he's able to bring all of the sea life and he starts turning the sharks that they're riding against them, I thought all of that was just so, oh my god. Like, I get the same thing you were saying, Jason. Like, in my wildest dreams, I never would have believed I would see this on screen. I only ever thought I would read this in a comic book or maybe see it in a cartoon. But it was crazy. It was crazy. And so Arthur defeats Ocean Master, unites the Seven Seas, and takes his place on the throne of Atlantis.
And Nicole Kidman wears the best sparkly robe I have ever seen. That was great.
Yeah.
White spankly robe.
Yeah.
And I like the mother. I like the mother aspect of, I love you both. Orm, I'm not mad. Mm-hmm. I'm disappointed.
In the second she showed up and you saw the look on Orm's face, he's like, "Oh, I fucked up.
I've made a huge mistake.
I am so grounded."
Mom, don't take my car keys away. I need the seahorse this weekend. I got a date.
So yeah. So,
and then wait, can we talk about the scene that actually did make me cry a small tear?
What was that?
The parents' reunion. He goes down to the dock and she's waiting for him and they hug. It was really nice. That was really nice.
It was. Yeah, this is beautiful, and you kind of get the sense that Arthur and Mira are gonna hook up.
Again, see above Re, he is Jason Momoa. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And yeah. So if this is all we get from Aquaman, like if that's it, and certainly like if this movie, even if it was this good, if it had come out in the 80s or 90s, it probably would have been a one shot because just Hollywood didn't think about sequels that in that way. But I don't know. Do you think they're gonna get a sequel? Do you think we're gonna get it? Do you think people are gonna come out? Like what do you think where do you think DC's head's at with this?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know where DC's head is. I think it seems to be earning pretty well. It seems to have decent reviews and a lot of goodwill, and I think they have a hella charismatic actor. So to me, I mean, Wonder Woman got a sequel, and I think these are of equivalent quality and audience goodwill. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him again. I am curious though, because you do have Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck both stepping away. So do you reboot? Yeah, I don't know. I bet we see him again. Whether he turns up in like a future Wonder Woman movie or if we have a different iteration of Justice League. Are they still doing the Flash movie?
I mean, it's on the books, but
maybe there's trouble down at the docks. I don't think this is the last we'll see of this actor in this role. I don't know. I would say chances are good, yes, more so than no that we get a sequel. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the line that they're going with now is they're going to be focusing more on solo projects and not going to be interweaving as much. I mean, Wonder Woman, Shazam is coming up next. Wonder Woman's shot, but that's not coming out till 2020. And the Birds of Prey movie is getting ready to shoot. The Flash movie is kind of in limbo. I think they have a director attached. But it seems like that script keeps going on and on.
Don't forget the Stargirl movie.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a TV show.
No, there's a movie too.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I say this as the person who does the news research every week. It's confusing, but yeah, there's a Stargirl movie as well.
I don't. What I will say is, I really, really wish that we had started the DCEU with Wonder Woman and just followed up with Aquaman. I think we would be in so much better shape right now if we could just pretend the Zack Snyder movies never happened.
Yeah. Think about if we'd started with Wonder Woman, we follow up with Aquaman, and then we get the news that James Gunn is moving to Suicide Squad, and it was the first Suicide Squad movie. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, even you could keep Henry Cavill as Superman. You could keep the same people, but like, I just feel like so much of this was tainted with those other four movies that.
I will even let you keep Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought he was a great older Batman who was not well served by the material. I'm still mad about Batman versus Superman.
Yeah. It's just kind of this shame because like this is a great movie, but I have no idea where we're going from here.
But I would be open to it going. I mean, I guess that's the important thing is I didn't walk out of here thinking I never want to see any of these people again. I want more of Mira, and I want more of Arthur, and I want more of Queen Atlantia, and I want more, heck, Patrick Wilson as Orm.
Yeah, and I think the thing here is that it was fun. Like you definitely were able to bring in that fun factor. It was bonkers. It was all over the place. It owned how crazy it was. This is exactly what I always want out of superhero movies. That I think has been lacking in the DC EU for a while, for so long. I thought a lot of this even felt more fun than Wonder Woman.
Well, it definitely was a different vibe. I mean, Wonder Woman was like World War I trying to create weapons of mass genocide and things. That's a good point. That Wonder Woman was less bouncy fun, was excellent in a different way, but this definitely was going for that more fun. And I think it's, if you cast anybody but the actor they cast as Aquaman, they probably don't have quite the same vibe, I wouldn't think. If it's Triple H, it's not the same vibe.
Yes. But so yeah, I mean, we don't really rate this, but I would just say this is a high recommend. Everyone has to go see this movie.
On Facebook yesterday, somebody asked me for my star rating, and I gave it 3.5 starfish out of 5. Had the writing been a little sharper, it would have been a much higher starfish rating. I'm sorry, I'm going with starfish. It's happening. Just go with it. Had they spent a little more time on that sparky, snappy dialogue that was a little less obvious, but the charisma, the characters, the scenery, the special effects, the floating hypnotic hair, recommend. Go see it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything more you wanna add, or can we just kind of lead on out of here?
No, just that Aquaman is cool. Aquaman is cool.
Aquaman is cool. So thank everybody for listening. We went in with barely any kind of structure, and we just shot off for 45 minutes. And I think
it's a testament to our strong partnership.
And I think we were pretty coherent. Not too many ramblings. But thank you everybody for listening. So that's the DC movie report for this week. We will be back next week with new episode of Gotham and a Batman the Animated Series retro pick, which is Robin's Reckoning, parts 1 and 2. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Welcome to 2019. Shazam.
Shazam!